In this Minecraft video, I'm going to survive 100 days in modded Minecraft. But here is the twist. The entire time that I am trying to survive, my buddy Austin is trying to hunt me down and kill me. If I survive to day 100, I win. If he is able to kill me, then he wins. I'm not kidding when I say at one point he charges me on a dragon. So if you're not going to stick around for that, I don't really know how to convince you otherwise. That being said, this is Minecraft Manhunt Modded Edition, and I really hope you enjoy. Very quickly before we begin though, there is still a giant 90% of people not subscribed to the channel who watches this channel. And if you want to help me get 100k by the end of the year, please consider doing so because it would be a massive help. And secondly, do you want the rematch or the 2v1 rematch? Will you get this video to 5,000 likes and we'll do it again? Alright, please enjoy. So we began on day 1, ready to go, and well, so we did. One gentle punch and we were off. First thing that you can see is a battle tower, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really stand much of a chance going in there. I decided to hold it off for the time being. We had a little bit of fisticuffs before I ran or swam away, and while swimming around I was able to find this underwater spawner thing, which had absolutely nothing. At least I've got this broken nether portal which had no chest. Alright, great start. After doing a bit more swimming away and making my last stand on this little island, a bit of fisticuffs happened when, well, rip Austin. After some complimentary teabagging, we were off to the races, where I will point out yet again that there is no chat for this video. This is to stop us from seeing the achievements that we'll both get to keep things a little bit anonymous. I know that you can turn off the achievements via a game rule. I really appreciate you guys telling me that, but I just think this way it just feels a bit more like alone, and I don't really know how to explain it. It just is better when you've got no chat in the game. You can't see what the other person's doing at all. Ooh, look at that, a bear. Oh, look at that bear! After that, I grabbed a little bit of wood, I grabbed a little bit of pork, and as it was turning to night, it was time for me to head underground and get some iron. Day 2, I spent in a simple cave where I had enough iron for full iron armor, full iron tools. I also was able to find a spider, which dropped 3 string, meaning I was able to get a bow, and thanks to some skeletons that I killed, I had a couple of arrows as well. I was even able to make an iron shield, which just is a better version of a shield. Once I had that all obtained, I was heading back up on day 3. I assumed my man was ready to attack me, and I also needed a bit more food, and I didn't really fancy a cave vibe for the most part. Once I was on the surface, I spotted both a village and a battle tower, and I decided that the battle tower was the best. I mean, you can actually get diamonds in battle towers, and oh hey Austin, how's it going? Do you mind just popping down that mountain for me? Thanks, but I appreciate it. So he was here and ready to go, but I don't think that he had a bow. That being said, the best way to take him out here is a surprise attack. And so, whilst I hid behind this hill, it made it look like I actually entered the battle tower itself. Austin assumed this as well and headed straight into the battle tower where I was able to get a surprise attack. After some nice clean hits, I was quickly able to take him out, and look at his inventory. My man has some OCD when it comes to Minecraft, apparently. He keeps that thing squeaky clean. After taking him out relatively easily, I was able to search the battle tower and casually had to escape it 007 style because, well, I was out of food and I was about to die. Day 4 was now the time for me to get a lot of food. The main animal I was looking for was cow, because apart from the food, you know, the leather would be good for some enchanting long term as well. And luckily for me, I got a load of leather. I'm almost got enough for a level 30 enchanter if you know, give me time to get some sugar cane. And it was by the end of day 6 that I was cooking the beef and waiting. I mean, it wasn't really much of an exciting time, but hell, beef's good. Day 7 started with me finding a gravel patch and breaking a shovel. I know that I needed arrows, and thanks to the chickens that I already found, I was able to get a stack as it was. After that, I needed a bit of wood, so I chopped down a couple of trees and luckily got a few apples with it as well. I have a tiny bit of gold, and if I can get a couple pieces more, then having golden apples nice and early would be great. As it was turning night as well, it was time for me to head underground, and day 8 is where the caving began. I'm not sure how many of you watched the 100 days modded video, but you'll know that my diamond look was incredible. By the end of day 4 or 5, I was able to get full diamond armor. This time, just wasn't going to happen apparently. The only really exciting thing I can tell you about is that I've made a backpack, which I don't know how to access, but no, I got a backpack. It was on day 9 where I found my first diamond vein. It was only 4, but it was a start. I only needed 1 more and I would have enchants. And it was on day 10 where I had 3 more diamonds, meaning not only could I make the enchants, but if I wanted them, I could also make a diamond sword. I would rather have armor, so for the time being, let's keep caving because we need lapis as well. And it was by the end of day 11 that I pretty much gave up on this caving trip. I did get enough lapis and I was pretty happy with that, but diamonds just didn't exist apparently. So you know what? It's time for me to move on with my life and see if I can get some other stuff. I was cooking up all my ores on day 12. I also enchanted the basics for what I had. All of it was pretty basic, except I was able to get the fire aspect enchant on my iron sword. Thanks to the lot of books that I had, I was able to turn it into sharpness 2, and I also got my bow to power 3. With long-term plans in mind, I decided to head back up to the surface at this point because I wanted to find some more chickens. Once I got to the surface, I did make a couple of golden apples as well and, well, began hunting. Day 13, I found another flock of chickens, which I casually murdered, and then I did some gravel grinding. Before anybody says it, I don't know why I didn't use the fire aspect sword. I know it would have cooked the chicken. I'm a moron, okay? I also grinded some more gravel and broke another iron shovel, but at this point, I had over 2 stacks of arrows, easily enough to be able to enter the nether, which was the plan on day 12. The ultimate goal was to make tungsten armor, and for those who don't know what that is, it is the best version of armor that I can easily obtain with easily going in quotations. It is actually better than netherite, which is really good. And I was making a portal like a speedrunner would when, well, somehow I clearly missed the Hunter X Hunter over there as he was preparing his assault. Luckily, he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat, and so I was able to escape. I had the perfect plan. There was this miniature house village thing over here, and I decided to pillar up to the roof and surprise him. It was perfect. He wouldn't have seen it coming. I was able to sneak up on him again, get a couple of shots. All I have to do is wait for my man to show up. Whenever he wants to show up. Anytime now. Any day now. Okay, where the hell is he? Turns out he just vanished. Don't know what happened. I was here for a good 5 minutes though. He was just gone. And so I headed back to the nether portal and... Oh, come on. Why did you have to do that? This just felt like an unnecessary attack on my personality. I mean, I took that so oh, he's back. It turns out that my man's bow was doing so much damage and I didn't want to keep a bow fight for too long. My first plan was to head back to the roof where admittedly I did get the drop on him, but I just didn't feel like it did that much damage. Oh, also, I accidentally hit the villager at this house and apparently this villager can be hostile if you attack him, so he's now attacking me as well. That's pretty fun. On a serious note though, because I only had full iron armor whilst he had some diamond armor, I really felt like he was doing the major damage here. I did try to lose him in a forest, and unfortunately that didn't work either. I actually dropped to 1/3 of my health, so it was very clear that running wasn't going to be the plan here. So I headed back to the plains to fight this fight one-on-one head-on. Or 1-on-2 because the villager is still around apparently. Luckily for me, the winning factor in this fight for me was the fact that my man ran out of arrows. And after some carefully placed bow shots, Austin goes down again. And if he had much more arrows, I don't think I would have won there. I think I would have died. And also, the villager apparently just forgave me. I guess he saw me kill Austin and was like, hey, we're cool, we're cool. And so 15 days in, we've done 3 fights, and so far I've won them all. Let's hope that that keeps going. After that, it was back to the portal because it was time for me to enter the nether once I fixed the portal, of course. My nether adventure began on day 16. The only place you can find tungsten ore is in the heart of the new nether fortresses based on this mod. And so the goal was to head there as soon as possible. Once I avoid these piglins. Yeah, piglins are never fun, you know? Oh well, what can you do? On day 17, I was still searching. I did grab a little bit of quartz for levels, but otherwise, not really much to be said here. Day 18 was... Okay, no one wants to see it. Let's just skip forward. Day 19. Nope. Day 20. Nope. Day 20, really? And it was on day 22 where I finally found the fortress. The main problem was that I was actually running out of chicken at this point, but I did have some beef, so it wasn't too much of a worry. And after that, it was time for me to look for the center of the fortress. I think I should quickly explain how tungsten armor is made. So on day 23, I found the center of the fortress, which has this little room here. They normally have about 30 to 40 pieces of tungsten ore, which you just smelt and make into tungsten. However, it's not the only thing you need to make. You see, these blazes that are covered in netherite will occasionally drop netherite scraps. You need this to make anything tungsten related. Well, most things tungsten related, should I say. And luckily for me as well, they come from spawners. So if I'm able to cover myself here and just let them come for me, I can just keep asking them a question until I have enough netherite scraps. Now, this is very, very dangerous to do because I only had half diamond thanks to Austin's diamond armor. I really need to be careful here. Luckily, I am exactly that, and I was able to escape with enough tungsten and netherite scraps to be able to make myself full tungsten armor. The only thing I'll show about the trip home was on day 27, I decided to grab a little bit more quartz. You can never hurt to get the extra levels that you need. And by days 29, I was able to return home and it was time for me to set up some gear. One cool thing about tungsten is that when you cook the tungsten, you get a huge amount of levels. So I began spending all the levels I had to improve my gear as much as possible. I was able to make my diamond axe into a sharpness 3. I was able to make my bow into a power 4, and by day 32 I had the full tungsten armor made. I was able to get protection 3 on everything except the leggings. I was only able to get protection 2 on. That was all completed, and it was time for me to set off for a village on day 33. There are certain enchantments that I can get by just manually doing them. There's certain enchantments that I will need village trades for. I was still searching on day 34, though I will mention at this point that we actually agreed to make no potions for this video. I want to make that now because I know obviously I have all the blazes and everything. I don't want people to get confused. We just have so many cool things we can use in the modded pack. We decided that potions was not going to be one of them. As far as I'm aware, there is no custom potions we can use anyway, so we decided let's just focus on the gear we can get. We'll ignore the potions for the time being, especially considering it takes what, 5 days to make the potions and everything. It's just completely unnecessary, especially when you get the chance of like riding a dragon or something. It's not like that's gonna happen, right? Right? It was day 35 where I was able to find the village and I was able to trap the village as necessary. I mean, you guys know how this works by now. I'm now going to spend the next 10 days or so placing and replacing the lectern until I get the mending trade. Usually takes about 10 days to get this whole process done, so let's just keep moving until, oh, we got it. Oh, that was quick. Same day, nice. And it was by night on 37 that I had mending applied to everything except my bow, because I decided that infinity was going to be better than mending on the bow, and of course you can't have both. The next step was for me to get unbreaking on everything, so it was time for me to do some more villager trades. Rinse and repeat the last process, and by day 41 I had obtained unbreaking 3 on everything including the bow. Luckily levels just really weren't an issue, and I even had a few spare. I also upgraded my iron shield to a diamond shield, and well, it was time to go get some friends. I set off looking for some wolves by day 42. I had a couple of bones spare over the time in this world, and it was time for me to go and get some. I mean, we all know how it goes by now. I find the wolves, I breed the wolves unnecessarily high, and then I make the same obnoxious and annoying, I call them the pack joke, over and over again. Of course, I have to find them first. And I did find them on day 43. Unfortunately, they was all tamed by Austin. Nuts. Anyway, are you ready to see the first sign this mod is not the most stable in the world? So it turns out, when you tame a wolf in this mod pack, another player cannot damage it. You can put lava, and you can shoot it with a bow, but physical melee attacks do not work on wolves. I found that out the hard way, and it was not fun. After we figured that out and doing a bit of mismatching, we made the agreement that wolves obviously can't be included, because if not, well, one of us was having an incredibly unfair advantage. And because of that agreement that neither of us will use wolves, this will be the first Minecraft Manhunt that I have ever done that doesn't include any version of the pack. I know, I'm sad as well. Once the dogs were all sat down, I gave myself some distance, and I really felt like I now had the advantage. My full tungsten armor versus Austin's full diamond armor really doesn't compare. I mean, if he had the wolves, it'd be a different story, but quite frankly, he doesn't. It was also at this point that I finally used my fire aspect sword for the first time, so that was quite nice. Even so, this really wasn't much of a challenge. My armor made it really difficult for him, though he did admittedly do really well. He actually loaded me quite a lot at one point, but other than that, this wasn't much of a challenge. This is not against Austin, it was just the fact that I outgeared him quite a lot. And after coming to blows many a times, it just was clear that he didn't stand much of a chance. And just before he could make a tactical retreat, I was able to put him down again. 4 fights in, and I yet again pulled off the W. I'm still really sad about the pack though. But you don't need a pack when you're a pro gamer like myself, and it was time to make some pro game moves on day 44, as I'm going to make a custom bow called the Spider Eye Bow. What is the Spider Eye Bow, I hear you asked? Well, it's simple. Basically, it requires a couple of things. The first thing is that we need a bunch of spider eyes, 8 in total. And so I waited till the night on day 44 and only got 4 spider eyes, but it was a start. On day 45, I went food hunting, where I was able to get the 4 spider eyes at night. And now that I got the spider eyes out the way, I just have to go get some netherite, so really easy stuff. I won't bore you with the netherite mining. It was day 51 that I was able to get enough for 2 pieces of netherite. And before people ask, as far as I'm aware, the netherite scraps I got from the blazes earlier, you can't use for making netherite, at least I hope that's the case or I'm gonna cry. And by day 55's end, I was out of the nether, back in a nice secure location, cooking up some tungsten. I did make the painful decision on day 56 to upgrade my iron sword to a tungsten sword. Long term, it was really gonna help, I just had to go through all the effort of getting fire aspect and sharpness on it again. Luckily, I still had plenty of books left over, so I was able to make a level 30 enchanter. The sword that I had gave me both sharpness and unbreaking on it, and so I just need to add the fire aspect now and we're good to go. After that, we headed back to the village because I wanted some more trades. 57 was when I got back to that village and it was time for me to do some more villager manipulation. One villager manipulation later and it was by day 64's end. I had been able to get infinity on my bow. I got fire aspect 2 on my sword. I spent the time getting my axe from sharpness 3 to sharpness 4, and it was also on this day where I finally remembered to make the spiderite bow. So I should probably explain what it does now. So firstly, you have to make a netherite bow, which increases the power of the bow, and then you can add a spiderite piece to it, which requires 1 netherite piece and 8 spider eyes. Combine that using a smithing table and you get a spiderite bone, which means every time you hit your opponent, there is a chance that you will poison them. So if you, for example, have the flame enchantment on your bow, which at this point I do have, and you also have the spiderite, there is a chance you will set your opponent on fire and poison them at the same time. The longevity of damage here is pretty damn good. The question is whether it will work with both of them, but we're soon to find out. And once that was all done, it was day 65 where I decided that I wanted to go a little bit hunting in the world. I haven't really found any structures this time round, and I really enjoyed it last time. Let's see if I can find anything new this time. Day 66, and we're still traveling around the world where I finally found some horses. One of the things I was looking for a while was horses, and I actually think this is the first time I saw some. I also found half netherite Austin, which, real talk, can we just talk about how this man was able to get half diamond armor and half netherite armor in the span of 23 days? If his PvP skills was on the level of his caving skills, I would never win one of these challenges. Don't get me wrong, that's not me calling Austin a bad PvPer, that's me calling him a great caver. Anyway, it was finally time for me to use my spiderite bow, and after hitting him a couple of times, I realized the poison effect was working, which means I could both set him on fire and poison him at the same time, which is just fantastic. I was able to get him on the run quite quickly because of this, and I found out he had a punch bow. I'll let you guess how. After he was able to get his distance, he just casually dropped me to 3 hearts because my man's bow was pretty damn powerful. Like seriously, most bow fights I feel pretty confident in. This was not one of them. And I had the spiderite bow, so I'm very surprised that I wasn't. He really was doing damage, and so I decided that since I wasn't going to win a bow fight, let's get up close and personal and fight my man axe to axe. Thanks to the beauty of the strong tungsten sword and the ability to swap that with the diamond axe that I had, when I came blow by blow with Austin, I was able yet again to put him down. He did admittedly jump into his own lava, which I'm pretty sure helped me quite a lot, but here we are 66 days in, and I was yet again able to take down Austin. Considering we're in the end game now, one more fight and I'll have survived 100 days. We still need to do a bit of preparing though, and so let's do that. Austin's armor and gear for the most part didn't really interest me, but one thing he did drop was a sharpness 4 netherite axe. And considering I had a sharpness 4 diamond axe, if I was able to get my axe to a netherite, I could combine the two together to get a sharpness 5 netherite axe. So the first goal was head back to the nether and get enough netherite to, well, turn this into a sharpness 5 axe. Before I do that though, on day 68, I was getting a couple of levels. I decided to get 30 levels to level 30 a tungsten pickaxe because it was just going to be much quicker than actually just digging manually. And by day 69, nice, I was back in the overworld. I did my level 30 enchant, got efficiency 4 and unbreaking 3, and it was time for me to go netherite hunting. 5 ancient debris later, on day 74, it was time for me to head home. Day 75, well, there was a little bit of smithing here, a little bit of ambling there, and your boy's got a netherite axe with sharpness 5 on it. I know I could have technically taken the extra step to turn this into a spiderite netherite axe, but nah, it just felt like a lot of work. I mean, I do have 25 days left, so, you know, it's not important. After that was done, it was time for me to head back caving. I was running quite low on gold and apples, and so I thought maybe I could grab a couple of extra. And by the end of day 81, a whole 5-day adventure of me caving, coming back up and chopping down some trees, I had enough golden apples for 20 in total. Should easily be enough, all things considered. The only other thing I really need to do now was get some food, and I think I'd be done. And so on day 82, I was hunting around looking for some food, found plenty of cows to drop me some beef, and well, let's just say I'm not gonna starve anytime soon, if you know what I mean. Day 83, I was cooking up that beef. That's it. It was a very eventful day, I know. And once I had awoken on day 84, I sort of just made the decision that, well, I was ready. Everything was good to go. I was able to get all my gear as strong as it possibly could, which included getting my armor to protection 4, which I realized I negated to mention earlier. But considering everything that I had, I was more than happy to go and prepare for the final fight. I know it's pretty early, but nah, what can you do? It was day 86 when I found a perfect spot to call home. Well, final battle home, if you could call that home. Remember the battle tower that I found on day 1? Well, I never actually searched it. And so I went in there and admittedly didn't really find anything worthwhile. But if I set up at the top of this tower, I think it would be a great vantage point so Austin wouldn't be able to sneak up on me. Well, that was the plan at least. So, this is where things get a little bit complicated, and I hope you guys can follow me on this one because unfortunately we had to make some adjustments to the video. I was basically ready for the final fight. I know it's day 87, but for the most part, there was nothing else I really could have got. Austin was just finishing up a couple of things, and he said within the next couple of days he probably would have came for me anyway because he would have been ready. However, for one reason or another from this point onwards, every time we tried to play on the server that I was hosting, the server would just crash, and I spent hours trying to fix this. So I should correct myself. We spent hours trying to fix this, but every single time we'd log onto the server, we'd get the same error message. I'm not sure why this would be. Neither me or Austin could figure it out, and we spent, like I say, hours trying to figure this out. We tried to clear our inventory. We tried to up the server's RAM to make it more powerful server. We tried to move away from our locations. I don't know what happened, but for some weird reason, the mod just decided enough was enough. And after almost 90 days, it just wasn't going to work for us anymore. We tried everything possible. We Googled everything possible, but it just wasn't going to happen, I'm afraid. And so we were left with two choices. We could start again, which was an idea that we suggested, but considering we're nearly 90 days in, that would have been a lot of work. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we've been going for about 20 hours at this point. Not consecutively, but over the past couple of days, we've played for about a grand total of 20 hours, and that excludes the couple of hours of trying to fix the server. Or we came up with a second option, which I'm assuming some people won't like, but I think is the best option under the circumstances, was I was able to get back onto the server, grab the seed, go into a new world on the same seed, and then spawn in the items that we had for the final fight. I know it's not great, and I really do apologize. I know people don't like this kind of stuff, but it's 20 hours of work, people. Let me have this one. And so with the trust rule in hand, I spawned in pretty much exactly what I was going to use for the final fight, and I trust that Austin was going to spawn in exactly what he had. And so even though the server gave up on day 87, we'll just call this day 99. This is the one time where we're going to change the rule though. Because the server gave up on the final 10 days, instead of me just surviving to day 100, the rule is the only way I can win this challenge is if I kill Austin right here. This one final fight will decide whether I win or whether I lose. A little bit different from the usual 100 days, but I mean, what else can we do? I mean, even so, doing one more fight with him, I really don't think is going to be an issue. I mean, I thought custom blazes and everything at this point. I mean, what in the world could he do to... What's that music? Is that the Skyrim music? Why is the Skyrim music? Oh my god, no! So, Austin has a dragon, and, yeah, Austin has a dragon. He has a dragon fighting for him. Guys, he has a dragon. So yeah, it was 2v1 with him being like a dragon. And I thought I could be funny and try and take the dragon from him, but then he just kicked me from the server, so that was nice. It turns out that when you have a dragon tamed, it pretty much is just like a wolf. And it will attack me if I get too close, and it does damage. So not only do I have to keep my distance from him, Austin has now also obtained a spiderite flame bow because he's a copycat and he stole my ideas and he smells really bad. To be honest with you, I was more focused on the dragon though, because the more that dragon was going to be alive, the bigger pain in the butt that I was going to have. I couldn't get too close because then both the dragon and Austin was going to attack me. And if I tried to get some distance and run away, Austin would just jump on the dragon and chase me down, meaning it was basically impossible for me to fight him. And so my ultimate goal here was for me to take down the dragon first. And so for the next 5 minutes, I basically spammed that dragon with as many arrows as I possibly could. Also, you ever been charged down by a dragon? I have. Bloody terrifying. At least I know that I can keep my distance somewhat. And really, Chompy? Not now! Yeah, screw you too. Also, I know you may notice a little bit of the red tint on the screen. That is because apparently something called the red moon started, and I don't know what it is, and it didn't really affect anything, but I just wanted to point it out. Anyway, after 100 hits or so, I finally put down the dragon, meaning it was 1v1, bow v bow, and I actually felt this time that I was doing much better. I think that he was probably hitting more shots than me, but his bow was only power 4, and my bow was power 5. And so he decided to charge in one last time, but yet again, I think I one-upped him. My sharpness 5, fire aspect 2, tungsten sword, my sharpness 5, netherite axe, was just way too much for him. And even with him matching my tungsten armor, after many a fist was hit, I was able to put Austin down one more time, and man, was that a scuffed ending. I hope you enjoyed anyway, and I thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Take care, everyone.